Today I have a really exciting unboxing. I've been really looking forward to getting one of these for a while. So you already know this is the Kindle Oasis 10th generation. And I've been thinking about getting a Kindle for a while because I have really enjoyed reading a lot, but I don't have a lot of room for keeping books in my apartment. So I wanted something that I could read with easily and something that wouldn't give me a lot of eye strain because I'm looking at computers all day long. So you can see that I got the certified refurbished version. And so this ran me around $226. Here, let me see. This is actually $226.68. So definitely not a cheap device at all. The Oasis is definitely going to be the most expensive one out of all the Kindle products. But let's go ahead and open it up and see what we have. So on the bottom here, you see we have a little guide that tells you how to use your Kindle. And it does have physical buttons on it for page turning, which is nice. And then included is this micro USB cable for charging. So unfortunately, it's not going to be USB-C, which is really a bummer. Hopefully they can release an updated version sometime this year with USB-C. I think that would be a huge improvement. But we do have this micro USB cable for charging without a charging brick, so you will need your own charging brick for that, or just plug it into a USB port. The good thing about Kindles is that they usually last a pretty long time on battery, so you won't have to charge it that frequently. I've been using it for a while now, and I charge it maybe like once every week and a half or 2 weeks, depending on how much I read during that time. So we can go ahead and slide the Kindle out, and it's actually packaged really nicely. It's in this nice plastic, so that was nice that it was still packaged well. And even though this was refurbished, there are no defects or cosmetic imperfections or anything with this. So it was kind of nice to be able to save a little bit of money on the Oasis, even though I still paid a lot, and be able to kind of recycle some tech at the same time. You can see that these are the buttons, so you can hold this on your left hand or the right hand to change the buttons, and the screen is flush, which is nice because I haven't had a Kindle in a while, but the Kindle I did have many years ago, the screen was not flush, which was very annoying to read with. So it's nice to see the screen is flush. So if we go ahead and boot it up here, we can select our language. So I'm going to go ahead and select English. And you can see that this does have a 7-inch display. So these are actually the reasons why I went with the Oasis over just the Paperwhite. So it's a larger display, which was nice. It has that front light that can adjust the temperature of the screen, so make it a little bit warmer or cooler depending on your environment. And then it also has the physical buttons on the side, and it's actually very ergonomic. I love reading with this. I've been using it for quite a while now, and it's just really nice to hold. It's super light, and the screen is very crisp, so it was really just kind of an amazing experience. And one of the things that I used to complain about with the old Kindles is that it was very laggy. The software was laggy. With e-ink, it can kind of have a delay when you're turning pages, or leave a little bit of a shadow or an imprint. I forget what the actual word is called, but basically you can still see like the previous page's text on it when you moved on to a new page. But I've noticed with this one at least that a lot of those issues don't really exist. So it's very snappy. The pages turn very quickly. You do sometimes have a little bit of a shadow left, but it refreshes a lot quicker than the older Kindles did. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and connect this to Wi-Fi so that we can get it synced with my Amazon account. Obviously, I did not record this at 2:27 a.m., so it needs to connect to the proper Wi-Fi so it can establish itself to the proper time zone. So I'm going to go ahead and enter in my password here. And then it's going to ask me to get Kindle on my phone, and I don't need to do that right now. I want to read it on the Kindle device itself, not on a small screen. And then it asks me if I want to sign up for Kindle Unlimited, which I don't want to do. And then it's asking me about Audible, which I will also skip for now. And it's asking me for Bluetooth, which I don't need because I'm not going to be using Audible. And then I'm going to go ahead and not sign in to GoodNotes. And then it gives you a little bit of an overview of how to use your Kindle and how to operate the OS. So at the top, you have a menu bar where you can, adjust your settings and go home and also look for books, etc. So I'm going to go ahead and just walk you through how the software works on the Kindle. So first, you can see that you can have the Kindle in either orientation where the buttons are on the right or where the buttons are on the left. And once you turn on the Kindle, the screen will automatically flip to be in the proper orientation that you want. And this is helpful because I like reading in my bed, usually when I'm laying down. So sometimes I'll be curled up on my left side and hold it in my left hand. And then sometimes I'll be curled up on my right side and I want to hold it with my right hand. And it just makes it really easy to be able to hold the Kindle in either orientation. And so this little grip that they have here, this little protrusion basically, and I was afraid that it would be really uncomfortable, but it's actually very ergonomic and it makes holding the device so much better than if it was just flat, I think. If it was just flat, I think your hand would fatigue a little bit easier and it would not be as comfortable. And then also your finger can rest on this side without touching the screen. And since these are physical touch buttons, you actually have to press down on them for them to do something. So that's really nice. Now this is also a touchscreen, which we'll see as we go through the software. So you will be touching the screen to do some things, and you can touch the screen to turn the pages as well. But I think it's a lot easier to just do it using the buttons. So let's go ahead and turn it on. So the power button is here. So to wake it up, you just press the power button and then it'll say waking up, and then we'll have to swipe to unlock it. So we'll go ahead and swipe to unlock. And so you can see that I'm reading a book right here, and if I want to get out of the book, you can click on the side, and then you get your menu bar on the top, and you get your description, your page, your book details on the bottom, what page you're on, how much time you have left in the chapter, stuff like that. But let's just go to the home first, just to show you what this looks like. So here it gives you basically a brief overview of your library, and you can click on it to actually see your entire library, but this just shows you your most recent books that you have. This Kindle that I bought does have the ads on it, so I think this is part of that. I'm not sure if the one without ads will have these banners on the bottom. I don't mind it too much. I actually sometimes like it to see what they're recommending. But if you don't want ads, you can pay extra, or I've heard you can contact Amazon customer support and they might, if you ask nicely, they'll get rid of the ads for you for free. But I don't mind it too much. Sometimes I like looking at their recommendations. So if you scroll down, it gives you a couple of recommendations for you that you might want to check out based on other books you've read on this Kindle. So I always think that's really nice. I'm always looking to explore new genres. So whatever they like, I like to see what they recommend. So we'll scroll back up, and if we actually click on your library here, you can see everything that's downloaded on this Kindle. So I have the 8 GB version, which is a lot if you're just going to download audio, if you're just going to download books. If you want audiobooks on your Kindle, I think you need the 32 GB version, but I don't know who's downloading audiobooks on their Kindle and not doing it on their phone. So I think that you should just get the 8 GB version and just download the books. And you don't need to keep all these books on there. You can have like thousands of books on this Kindle, and you don't need them all downloaded at once. I mean, who has 1,000 books that they need at their fingertips at all times? Most people don't, right? So as you can see here, I only have 3 books downloaded on the actual device. But if you want to see all the books that are available to you, you can go ahead and click all. And then from here, you can download any of the other books that you have. Okay, so over here, the other important thing is the settings. So if you click on the settings here, you can turn on Bluetooth, airplane mode, dark mode, which I really hate actually on this. And you can adjust the brightness and the warmth of the display. So the warmth is something that's unique, at least as of now, as of this video, to the Kindle Oasis. And I actually really enjoy the warmth. I think it is a little bit too drastic sometimes when it adjusts the temperature, but I overall really enjoy the color, the temperature adjustment of the screen, because when it's later at night, I like the pages to be a little bit warmer, a little bit less blue light, and I think it's just a little bit more soothing to the eyes as well. So if you click on all settings here, you can see that you have a lot of different options for what you want to do to set up your device. So if you go to device options here, this is where you can, set a passcode for your device and adjust the display. So over here, you can set your warmth schedule like I was talking about before, and I have it automatic. And then you can also have night light turned on, which decreases the screen brightness over time as your eyes adjust to the darkness. So this is really nice. So if you're reading in the light and then you turn off your lights like you're about to go to bed, it'll slowly dim the display a little bit. so that you don't have such a bright light. But it does it over time so you can adjust to the darkness as well. And I found this really helpful when I'm reading at night. And it's kind of crazy how dim the display can go, and you can actually still read it because your eyes have adjusted. And then this is the display size, so you obviously can make your display layout standard or large depending on what you choose. So besides display settings, there's another cool feature that I liked. I think this is a recent feature, but if you go under advanced options and then you click on home and library, and then here, there's this option to group series in the library. So if you have like a series, like I have Harry Potter series, it can actually group all those books under one icon. So you don't have to skim all the pages or flip through many pages of your library just to find different books from that series. So I think that's really nice. I don't remember this being a feature before, so I think it's a pretty new feature, and I'm really enjoying that as well. So that's really cool. And then under reading options, you have the ability to refresh the display after every page turn, which is really nice for sure, but I think it will drain the battery a lot. So I've kept it off because it refreshes pretty frequently anyway, that I haven't really had any problems. But if you really don't want there to be any shadowing, then you can turn this on, but you might drain your battery a little bit. And then here you can configure your page turn buttons. So I like it in this orientation where the one at the bottom goes forward and the one at the top goes back. So this is considered reverse to them, but you can switch it so that the one on top goes forward and the one on the bottom goes back, whatever you prefer. So that's nice that you can orient that. And then this will obviously, once you flip your device, it'll flip the buttons for you and show you. It's the same thing, but now it's just on the left side instead of the right side. So that's really cool, and I really enjoyed that you have the option to choose which button does what. Okay, and then really quickly, I want to show you the rest of the reading settings. So they're not all under that settings that we just got to. In order to like adjust the font and the size of the text on the book itself, you have to go into settings when you're in a book. So if you click on the top again, and you click on this A, here you can change the themes. If you want the spacing to be smaller or larger, you can go ahead and change that. You can change the font if you want it to be bolded, and the size, the layout of the orientation, the margins, everything like that. And then what I think is the most important one is if you click on more, this is where you can adjust to at the bottom where it shows you what your reading progress is like. So you can have it show you the page in the book, time left in the book, the location. I don't know who likes that, but you can have it show the location or the time left in chapter. So I always like it to show the page. And then if you want, because when you're reading, everything disappears except the text, but you can have it show the clock if you want when you're reading so that you don't lose track of time. So overall, I have really been enjoying this Kindle. I've been using it for a few months now, and it is really fantastic. It's really encouraged me to read more. With the Kindle Oasis, it's very light. I can take it with me easily anywhere. I now read, like a chapter every night at least. I'm interested if people think that, the Oasis is a worthy upgrade to the Paperwhite like I do. I think a lot of people think the Paperwhite is just fine, but I'm really excited to see what they do with the new Oasis, hopefully this year or next year. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.